Now, more than 3 weeks into the new year, it is still a good time to work on your personal finances. If you have a high credit score, your buying power increases, and there are credit cards available that might help you save on everyday spending. Richmond CPA Phil Umansky is here to walk us through some of the options. Good morning, Phil.
Good to be here, Cheryl.
When we're looking for credit cards, I would think the first thing we would want to look for would be like a 0 or a low percentage rate of interest.
Absolutely. You know, the lower your interest rate, if you do accumulate some debt on your credit card, then that's going to lower your really interest payments. But what we're going to be talking about today are our cashback credit cards, which will actually save you money. And so, you know, you always want a low interest rate, but if you feel like you can pay your credit cards off immediately, then it doesn't matter what the interest rate is because you're not going to be charged interest.
Right. You want to use it as a rolling credit for about 30 days or so.
Absolutely. You're just sort of hanging, you know, your purchase there, and then you're going to pay it off.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the features because I looked at some of your examples and some of them do have an annual fee. I would think that we would want to get free cards. What's the benefit of paying a fee for a card?
If you can get a good cash back. Okay, and we're going to go through some examples.
Okay.
And the key about a cashback is that's really money that's coming back to you. It can either reduce the bill of the credit card. In some cases, they can directly deposit it into your checking account, or you can get a check back from the company.
So you're spending this money anyway, you may as well make it work for you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, well, give us our first example.
Okay, so I do want to emphasize that these are examples, and the consumers really can go and look at other cards as well, but this is a pretty good example of how they work and the different features that they have.
Okay.
So the one that I want to talk about the first, this is what is called the Blue Cash Preferred Card from American Express. And this is really a great everyday shopping credit card. The key feature is groceries, I think, is you get a 6% cash back on groceries up to $6,000. Now, if you have two people in the family, like the husband and wife, each one can get a separate credit card, so that raises the limit to $12,000. So let's say you spend $12,000 on groceries, 6% of that's a pretty good savings. We're actually going to go through an example of it.
And that's kind of eye-opening too, to realize that you're spending that much money on groceries on an annual basis.
Absolutely. You know, big families can easily hit that. Now, the gas is 3%. So you get a 3% discount at filling stations, gas stations. And then other purchases other than the 6% and 3% is 1% cash back.
So do you have to have a certain credit score in order to qualify for a card like this?
Yes, you do. And this does have an annual fee. The annual fee is $95, but the recommended credit score is $690 to $850, which is good to excellent credit.
So if you're saving $6,000 to $12,000 a year, getting that back, $95 a year for the annual fee is not so bad.
Not so bad at all.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What's the next card we want to take a look at?
Okay, the next one is the Citi Double Cashback Card. So you get 1% on every dollar that you spend on anything. It's not excluding anything. And then when you pay off your credit card, you get 1% back. Okay, so that's 2%. 2% savings on everything.
So if you're paying it off on a monthly basis like you should, then you're earning a pretty good percentage point.
Yeah, you're getting 2% off, and then you're not paying any interest because you're paying it off immediately.
And the key is to kind of, I guess, go online or if you get these offers coming in the mail, like a lot of us get flooded with them, is take a look and compare them.
Absolutely. Now, let me just mention, they run some specials monthly, like maybe 10% off certain steaks, for example, Omaha steaks. I like to get those. Okay.
Steak man.
And
Okay.
this is, by the way, this is no annual fee as well.
Okay, so that's the start. So everything you're earning on that one or that type of card is dollars in your pocket.
Absolutely.
Next up.
Okay, the next one is a Discover, and a lot of times with the Discover, you'll get an initial offer for the first year, but this is a great card because you get 1% discount on everything that you put on it, and then frequently every quarter what they do is they have sort of specials that you get 5% cash back. So for example, this particular quarter, which is January, February, March, anytime you get gas, you get 5% cash back on the gasoline.
I like anything 5% above sounds really good.
Absolutely. And then this is a local one. This is the Capital One Quicksilver credit card. This one is actually available for somebody that has a lesser credit score than these three, 630 to 689. And this is the flat 1.5% cash back. So it doesn't matter what you buy, you get a flat 1.5%.
And again, these are just examples. We are not endorsing these in any way, shape, or form, just telling people that these are some of the things that you should look for when getting a credit card. If we're looking at our finances and trying to straighten out our finances for the year, is it a good idea to open new lines of credit if you already have quite a few credit cards, or should you close some of those lines of credit before you open new ones?
Well, what I would recommend is look at your credit score. I did actually open some of these credit cards within the last year, and they really didn't affect my credit score as much. One of the big things on credit scores is how quickly you pay off your credit card balance. And since we would be spending cash on these anyway, we just pay off the credit card within the month, and it's not going to affect your credit much.
Ideally, where should our credit rating be, credit score?
Well, you want to have it as high as possible. If you have 800 or above, that's excellent. Okay.
And then, like you said, you check your credit score. That's something we really should be doing on a regular basis. There are 3 main credit score checking companies, and we should be checking with each of them.
Yes, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, those are the 3. And just as an example of this, hopefully the camera can see this, this is just an example of a savings if you use these credit cards in combination. So let's say you spend $1,000 a month on groceries, that's $60 off, isn't it? Let's say you spend $300 on gasoline, well, that's a savings of $30. And then let's say you put some of your bills on this credit card, get a 2% discount, that's going to be the savings for that as well. So you can really accumulate big savings. But the key is, we talked about this, is pay off those credit cards before the interest charges hit.
That's great advice. Thank you, Phil, for some examples and some ideas of how we need to work our credit this time of year. And for more information on choosing the best credit card for you, we'll post a link on our show website later today at WTVR.com/VTN.